family, and friends. But just want to say how much we appreciate you being here. This is a new ministry that we're rolling out. Duc Hoang and I are both co-founders of this new ministry, passing the baton. And when I first sent it out, I got the wrong baton. Some of you probably noticed that. I had like the baton death march. That's not what this is, okay? And if some of you don't know what that is in history, if you go back and look at it, you'll know that's not what this is. But we're glad to have you here this evening. I'm honored to have a lot of folks here that I've had a relationship with for a number of years, some not so long, but some that I work with. Hal Perry is here this evening. He flew in from Salt Lake City. So we're glad to have Hal here. Rick and I both work for Hal, and Elaine as well. All three of us work for Hal. And we've just opened a new regional office here. Rick signed a lease on that, 5 days ago maybe? Something like that. So we're glad to have them here. And just so many others that have come out this evening. My darling wife, Sandy. I think most of you know Sandy. And Doug will introduce his bride. But we also have our daughter, Misty, and her husband, Tim. Tim works for Kinder Morgan. And but we're glad to have everybody here this evening. There's one guy here that has my hair. Well, I used to have hair. But we have the same hair, and it's the hair of wisdom. And it's silver. It's not gray. It's silver. And we're honored this evening to have Brother Tim Barker, Dr. Tim Barker, with us. He is the director of the, I'm going to get this right, of the South Texas District Director. Superintendent. See, I know I did it right. Why couldn't I just come up with that word, superintendent? But he's like the grand poobah of the Assemblies of God for South Texas. Some 600 churches, I think. Is that right? That's pretty good. Oh, see, yeah, right. He feels like 600. Right? I got that deer in the headlight look. I knew I was in trouble.
Oh, 600.
I should have wrote some of this down. But anyway, we're just glad. Brother Barker is a very, very special guy. He and his wife Jill are very special people. And of course, Jason Bone is here. Jason is director of the Royal Rangers for the South Texas District, and I report to him. He and Aaron Muhammad and I both report to him. But we're just glad to have everybody here. We've asked Brother Barker to come and just give some opening remarks and then lead us in prayer this evening as we start this new ministry. Brother Barker.
Well, thank you. It's a privilege to be here and be a part of this inaugural meeting. So let me just do what I've been asked to do and pray.
Okay, that's great.
Father, we're grateful for this day because you made it. And we rejoice in it because you knew what this day would hold for each and every one of us. Father, I pray that as this inaugural meeting takes place for this necessary ministry, that we will be good stewards of that which has been passed to us. That the legacy of those who've gone before us will not be in vain, but will take true to heart the responsibility that we've been given to move forward with excellence, with power and anointing. We pray your blessing upon tonight's speaker. We pray that you'll just bless the time that we have together, and everything we say, everything we do will bring glory and honor to the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Thank you, Brother Barker. It's been a crazy day. A lot of stuff going on. I just want to share with you just briefly before we bring our guest speaker up, and I do have another gentleman here that I want to share some information with us that I've just met this evening, really for the first time, other than a phone conversation we had. And he's got a great story, a great ministry as well. The Lord had been dealing with me about something for a lot of years. Hey, Vicente, good to see you, buddy. For a lot of years, and it was a deal where I just kept thinking that we needed to do something for succeeding generations, for those that are coming behind us. I'm of the baby boomer generation. It's the largest, if you've studied, you know it's the largest generation. And after the World War II, the guys came back and, well, there were a lot of babies. And so we're the baby boomers. We have others here, and there was one gentleman that was going to be here. He's not here yet. He's from the greatest generation. which would be World War II and Korea. And I hope he makes it tonight to be here with us. But I just felt like there was something that we needed to do to pass on to other generations and to help other generations, to be a mentor and to be a help to these other generations. And so the Lord just kept impressing that upon me. And I got up one night about, I don't know, 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning and went to my computer and just started putting this together. And so the basic format will be that we'll meet on the first Tuesday of every month. And what we'll do is we'll come and we'll have a guest speaker. And so the first 5 minutes or so, we'll just welcome one another, you know, and then we'll have a few announcements and I'll introduce the guest speaker. The guest speaker will have about 40 minutes to speak. And it'll be on a wide variety of subjects. We're going to have folks here that are from the real estate industry like we do tonight. We have a couple here. And we'll have other folks. There's my grandson. How are you, Jimmy? And so we'll have other folks that, Jimmy just got back from South Korea, also did a tour in Afghanistan, United States Army. So we'll do that, and then we'll have at the end, we'll have maybe 10, 15 minutes of Q&A, questions and answers, and then we'll have a few minutes for networking. So if you brought business cards tonight, feel free to share those with any and everybody. One of the things that we hope happens over time as a byproduct of this ministry is that there will be a naturally occurring thing where you'll find people in the group that you really want to spend time with, that you want to be either a mentor to you, or maybe you'll be a mentor to them. And then we have some other terms that we'll talk about too. You may have seen some of this. We have a web page, we have a Facebook page, we have, what all else do we have? Duc's been real busy putting all this together. But we have all this communication now, and so we're just trying to reach out to everybody. By the way, some folks called, some of them aren't here yet, they're still in around. I think they hit traffic. Imagine that, hitting traffic in Houston, Texas. So they'll be here shortly. But let me just share something with you. Excuse me. The passing of the Baton Ministry, we believe, will help us to have better lives, bigger dreams, higher visions, and more integrity. We live in a world where a lot of folks, that word integrity doesn't mean much to them. But for Christians, integrity means a lot. It speaks to our relationship with our Father God and with one another. So we think that all of these things will happen. In Jeremiah 29:11, and I hardly go anywhere that I'll share that scripture, it says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope in the future." MentorPreneur. Has anybody ever heard that term before? MentorPreneur? You know what an entrepreneur is? Okay. A leader who has characteristics of a mentor, an entrepreneur, a dreamer, a visionary, and a goal setter. Mentorpreneurship. You got to be careful.
It's a mouthful.
Well, you got to be careful. Mentorship and entrepreneurship combined. That's what that is. Our mission statement for the group is passing the Baton Ministry is taking the biblical-based baton that mentorpreneurs learn in life and pass it on, which gives hope to the next generation of mentorpreneurs. To enable them to build the mentorpreneurship in the future upon the things that we've learned and experienced through our lives, mentorpreneurship lives. Our vision is to maximize interest and opportunity for the next mentorpreneurs to learn from the experiences and wisdom of successful mentorpreneurs, so they can have hope to follow that path. Our dream and our goal is building successful mentorpreneurs in the local community and ultimately hoping to take the ministry around the world to build successful mentorpreneurs so that they can be, we may have to change that word. You're going to repeat it. We'll get an acronym. Y'all help me. We'll get an acronym in there. We'll find an acronym, okay? So anyway, we build hope. That's what we're hoping to do, is to build hope. We all come from various backgrounds, educational backgrounds, experience just in our daily walk. We all do different work. You know, we have our families, we have our extended families, but this is an opportunity for us to get together. I'm real pleased with the turnout tonight, I'll be honest with you. I'm not disappointed at all. I think this is great, and that you would take time to come out and spend with us. I think that's just absolutely fabulous. There are sign-in sheets on the tables, if you would. Please sign in on those sign-in sheets. We're trying to get a little bit of information so that we can keep you updated on upcoming meetings. So just give us the information on the sign-in sheets, if you will, and if you can do your best to write it to where we'll be able to read it. And I'm saying that to me more than anyone else, because I have the worst penmanship in the world. We have a gentleman here this evening that I read an article in the newspaper the other day, and it really caught my attention. He had a couple of World War II veterans on there. These guys are in their 90s, and talking about a trip that they made to Washington, D.C. And I want Ed Hirschberger to come and just greet the people, if you will. I know you've got some handouts and stuff. And Ed is going to come next month and be our guest speaker. But tonight, he's just going to tell us a little bit, give us a little flavor of what it is. So come on up, Ed, if you will. Ed Hirschberger.
I want to thank everybody for having me out here. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing. I got an email, and Sarge said we'd like for you to come out and give a brief overview of what you do. Basically, what we do is we provide transportation to Washington, D.C. for World War II veterans at no charge. We fly out of Houston, get to D.C., board a bus, go to a hotel, have supper. Next day we have breakfast. We go to Arlington, the World War II Memorial, Korean Memorial, the Wall, Marine Corps Monument, Air Force Memorial. Somewhere in there we have a box lunch. And then after we've done our tour, we go back to the airport and come back to Houston. We usually leave we'll probably leave on a Friday, come back on a Saturday. We have volunteers that will be at the airport to help the veterans get situated until they go on the plane. We have other people who actually go with a veteran as an escort or guardian or buddy or whatever terminology we decide to use. And then the ones that are traveling unaccompanied, we have a group of volunteers in Washington that are with the West Point Parents Association that we've been communicating back and forth. They will meet the airplane at the airport and be assigned a veteran. They'll stay with that veteran for the tour, except when they're asleep. We'll get them bedded down for the evening. Those people go home, come back the next morning about 5 a.m. We have breakfast, and then we do the tour. I like to be the first group in Arlington, especially in the summer, because we put everybody in a wheelchair for safety. And a lot of these guys don't want to be in wheelchairs, but we talk them into it. And but we line up on one side where they do the changing of the guard, that in the summertime is the best place to be because it's in the shade. And so, being from Texas, I look for shade.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's every 30 minutes, and then we go from there to the World War II Memorial, and we'll spend maybe 2 hours, 2.5 hours there. It's a very hectic trip, very hectic 36 hours. Some people do it in one day from Texas.
Oh, wow.
We choose not to do that because the average age of the World War II veteran is 92.
Yeah, we used to live on East Coast.
That's a rough trip on me, and it's even rougher on them.
We used to live rough.
But any World War II veteran who is capable of traveling, who has not been on some other honor flight or some other group trip to the World War II Memorial, is eligible. And a lot of them tell me, well, you know, I didn't really do anything because I served all my time in Florida. And it doesn't matter. You know, it doesn't matter where they served. They didn't have to be in combat. If they were in during World War II, they are eligible. That includes merchant marines, and there's a lot of female World War II veterans out there that a lot of people don't really think about, but we really would like to find them. That's
You know at what rate we're losing our World War II veterans?
about 600 a day nationwide.
600.
I'm also a member of the Patriot Guard Riders, and we do a lot of funerals at Houston National Cemetery. We have 2 this past week.
How many we have left?
There's approximately 1 million World War II veterans left,
Really?
and there's about 90,000 in Texas. And a lot of them have been to the memorial. There's a lot of groups out there doing this. But the more people who do this, the more veterans get to see their memorial that took 60 years to build. And the thing that just blows me away is when they're there, school kids come up to them, people just walk up to them and, you know, thank them, shake their hands. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
So if you want to go on a trip, we can arrange that. But it is work. A lot of people think it's a nice little trip to DC for the weekend. You're loading and unloading wheelchairs, you're helping veterans on and off the bus. You have to stay at arm's length of that veteran at all times. And like I said, a lot of them don't want to be in a wheelchair, and that's okay. But the wheelchair has to be right there because they're fine for about the first 30 or 45 minutes, and then they start getting tired. So then they need that wheelchair. So our main concern is to get them there, show them their memorial, and get them back safely.
Yeah. Tell us again the name of your organization.
It's called Kilroy's Crew.
Yeah.
If you're familiar with Kilroy at all, it was all over the world, wherever American troops went. So we just picked that because they could relate to that. And it's, you know, we were at Wings Over Houston, and the guy was walking by our booth, and he says, "That's Kilroy." And so he came over and started talking to us. It's an amazing thing to do, and we need a lot of help. So if you want to help out with it, I've got some information back here that I can leave. We have website, we have Facebook, email, phone number, all of that. So
Let's give it a big hand. I also want to express our appreciation to the folks here at the Oakhurst Golf Club. They do not charge us for the meeting room. They do have the grill open. If anybody wants anything, please give them your patronage because they're doing a lot for us. One of the reasons they do that is because we have a golf tournament here in March, and we'll have 144 players, so that's part of it. But I'm hoping that we can meet here on a regular basis. This place will seat a lot of folks, so we're hoping for that. I want to introduce our guest speaker for this evening, a young man that, well, I tell you, I have just grown to love he and his wife, and they're very remarkable young people. And I've got, I think the highest honor that you can have, Duc, is when people say nice things about you. And a lot of folks have said a lot of nice things about my friend Duc. Duc is from Vietnam, right? He's from Vietnam. But I want us to share some of that. And I've lost my place here. Duc's my computer expert. Bring back up that little card for me.
Only if it's an iPad.
Okay, nothing like a little technical difficulty. Selena Stokes is here this evening. Hello, Selena.
Hello.
Selena, come up and tell the people what you wrote. Not word for word necessarily, but what you wrote about Duc recently when you endorsed him. Do you remember? It was like.
Yeah, Duc, could you quickly get me to that?
That's what I was looking for. I had it there, and I lost it somehow. But one of the other things I'll tell you real quickly too about the group is one of the things that we're trying desperately to do is to have this. How you doing? You bring your drums or? Okay. But one of the things that we're trying to do is trying to have these meetings at zero cost. And so far we're doing good. Okay. But I would prefer if we could that no money be involved with this meeting. It does a couple of things. Number one, it'll help keep politics out of this, and I despise politics. The other thing that it'll do is it'll make it to where everybody can afford to come. if there's no cost involved. So we're not taking up offerings or anything like that. Thank you. Selena, if you'll come.
Oh, you found that I was getting into.
He's got a pretty good size. There we go.
Yeah, you catch me off guard.
I like doing that.
Yeah.
Let me get out of the way.
So what I wrote was for the benefit of an internship that he's applied for, just to give you a little background of why I wrote this. And so I'm hoping he gets that wish and that dream he's going after at the moment. So I wrote that Duc Hoang does things with excellence and never takes no as an answer. He's a go-getter and a hard-working man. Oh, that's Mercy. So where's mine? I was going to say, I don't remember saying that. He is. So anyway, as his broker. So anyway, I said I found him to be an enthusiastic and focused young man. Very rare to see a young man of this age achieving so many goals. I then became blessed to have him join Crown Realty, whereas his broker have now experienced his excitement, integrity, and ability to engage full speed into this business. He asks questions, he desires to learn, and is not afraid to step out and perform the tasks needed to succeed. He is a breath of fresh air. I have also been privileged to see how he honors and respects his parents. He desires to achieve here in America, to honor the sacrifices his parents have made so he can be here. Last but not least, Duc has the sincere support of his lovely young wife, Mercy, which is the catalyst to all his efforts. Duc will take the knowledge and use it to the fullest benefit while leaving a lasting impression on your heart.
And Vicente, the last quote, I'll just read it because it's kind of short, but he said, with a work ethic and integrity like no other. That's quite a compliment. And then this other fella that did 21 years in the Army wrote, Duc is a young man who has a magnetic personality and is truly a man of integrity. He is an entrepreneur and has accomplished so much already in his young life. Make plans to attend this event and glean from his incredible wisdom. You're going to be blessed right out of your socks. And so Duc, with that, because we already know what your wife said, so I'm not going to make that. Come up here, Marcy. Come on up here. Come on up. Sandy and I just absolutely fell in love with this young couple at our church, and to the encouragement that you gave us when we first came to the church, you know, as a young couple, was just absolutely amazing. You guys, you were like everywhere at the same time. I always wondered if they were maybe like both of them were like triplets or quads or something, because they honestly they were just everywhere. And Betty, you know what I'm talking about. So we love them, we appreciate them, and behind every great man is an even greater woman. And this is Duc's wife. I just want everybody to meet her. Thank you, brother. You want to say all right, Duc. With that,
I'd like to start by saying that my name is Duc Hoang, and I'm 23 years old, and I came from Vietnam. About 8 years ago, whenever I turned 16, my parents decided to just did all my paperwork without letting me know about it, and just the week before my interview to get the visa to come to America, they say, we are applying for you to come to America, so here we go. You go and apply for it and go do the interview and score it and then go to America. And my parents never came to America, so for sending me to America was a big step because they have no idea what this country looked like. They sent my brother and sister over, but they have no idea what this country looked like. So for them to send me over was a really brave step. I just recently graduated college with my bachelor degree, and I married my high school sweetheart, Mercy. I do real estate, and I love the job. I get to work whenever I want, and sometimes it can be hard, but I love the business. I like to do things that I appreciate for people, and that's one of the business that we'll appreciate in the long term. And I'm also co-founding this ministry. It's called Passing the Baton with the best mentor, Sarge Summers. This ministry started out before we even know it was a ministry. We used to meet in Carl Jr. 6 o'clock on Friday, and just me and him, we just grab some breakfast, and we just talk and get to know each other, and just learning about how the day, like, what we would do, like, just share information with each other, and that's how we started it. And I learned so much from you, and you know, getting up at 6 o'clock every Friday was like, yes, I'm looking forward to that. I get to like meet Sarge and learn so much from him. And I really appreciate you for getting up and meet me over there.
Thank you, Doug.
Not only just me and you got to talk, we got to like meet other people, and the people work there really liked you, and they know your name, and they just know what we need to order that morning, and so it was a great experience. Well, I know Sarge through our church. We met in our church, and the first time that I ever meet him was for the greeting ministry. And as soon as we came to the room, here Sarge just handed me his business card, and I'm like, we just came in, and he already handed me his business card, you know. I'm like, he's a great salesperson, you know. and everywhere we go, as soon as we get into the restaurant, he's put, let me give you my business card, and everybody knows his name, and I'm from that aspect of business. I'm loving it. I love seeing him and be success, and seeing him getting everybody loving him at church, and I want to be him when I grow up. I want to be like Sarge when I grow up.
Keep talking like that, we will take an offering.
Right? And then we were able to serve in several ministries in our church, and I really admire that. And come to find out, he helped the younger generation, younger boys in our church, in our Royal Ranger ministry, which is with Jason and Aaron Muhammad. And that ministry, I think, was a great idea because it helped so much young people to grow to be better young men in their future. And I think that's one of the greatest ministry in the church, because I used to help for the youth, so I see the importance of raising young boys to be young youth, and then to be young men and women in our country. And I came to find out that Sarge served in the military, and I think that is one of the things that I admire him a lot. I'm really thank you for your services, Sarge, and anyone in here that thank you for your service. You are the reason why we are here tonight. Our freedom, that is something that I will never trade for. I mean, in my country, we cannot have some meeting like this. We cannot have something that have to do with Christ, as far as the government have to know about it. If not, they're going to come and shut us down. And you know, this is one of the freedoms that I get to embrace, and I love that about America. This ministry means so much to me because I just graduated from college last year, and while I was just thinking about, God, what do you want me to do with my degree? What do you want me to serve in? And after making several calls and comments with other ministry, the pastor was like, well, you know, we have a lot of young men, you know, graduating from college, and they seem very strong and you know, wanted to do what they want to do, but after a few years, it seemed like they just quit. Are you one of those? And I'm like, well, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. And he just like, well, it just seemed like he doesn't believe in me. And I started going to church in 2010, and since then I served in the church ever since. And I would just question myself, like, why is it people were like, you know, the leader in the church want to have that doubt into their mind, and that's just, you know, give me a drive to just willing to just be better myself and willing to help my generation to be a generation known for we not just quit. We're not just a quitter. We're willing to do whatever it takes to get out there and make this a greater community and greater generation for the nation. So that's my drive for to be in this ministry. I know the new year just come, and how many of you have goals for this year? How many of you have, say, 10 goals? I know we got more than that, 20 goals. We gotta have a lot more goals. And I'd like you to add one more goal in your plan, and that is the passing the Baton Ministry. We only meet once a month, only 2-3 hours for every service, and I know it's cost a lot of time and effort to try to get here, but the service that we get to give to other people is very important, because this is something that not only you get to pass it on to the next generation, but later on in the future they're gonna appreciate you a whole lot. I mean, I remember there was a time that whenever my brother told me, like, you know, you can't go to like these parties, and I'm like, forget about it. I want to go to the party. I was young, and later on, I really appreciate the fact that he told me no and he didn't let me go, because as an international student, if I get in any trouble with the smallest thing you can think of, I get deported right away, and it's not just go right back to Vietnam. We go to a third country that the American don't want us, and the Vietnamese government doesn't want us to come back. So this long process you have to sit through, and you know, I really appreciate the fact. At the time I didn't know, but now to look back, I really appreciate that he knows that, and he's willing to do the hard, make the hard decision for me to be able to stay here and have a good future here. I think that mentorship is something that we need to look for. I mean, we live in a culture that a lot of people are successful, but like Sarge said, not a whole lot of people willing to give up their time to pass it on to the next generation. And from my generation, people like my age, they don't like talking to people. I mean, they rather send a text with, you know, LOL and smiling face than just meet you or even talk on the phone with you. So as mentor, we need to willing to reach out to these young men and women and like invest into their life, because without our effort, they are not going to come to us. And you know, it's one of those things that you know is going to be better for them in the future, but at the time they had no interest into doing that. So for us, we had to willing to do that and help them to get to the level that you want them to be, and they will appreciate you later on in the future. And sometimes we reach out to them, and it seemed like, you know, it didn't go anywhere. And I just want to encourage you guys that, you know, sometimes we make the plan, but we need to know that God is the ultimate one, that He set the right time of the perfect time for you to get connected with a certain people. So don't get discouraged if you don't think it's going anywhere. As long as you plant that seed into their lives, later on it will grow, just a matter of time. And I can tell you that there's so many times that one of my gifts is to give to people, and even though at the time it seemed like give them $5 or $10 didn't mean anything, or didn't have to say anything about like God willing to use that, but later on in the future I get comment like, thank you so much for your giving, thank you so much for investing into my life, and you have no idea what's an impact it make like my life. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything, you know, I just give you some money because that's something that you think that you need. But there's always that seed that you sow into their lives that later on they're willing to pass it on. And if they see somebody in need, that characteristic gonna come out, and they're gonna be able to give to like other people. And I think that's a great character. And I want to talk about sacrifices. Any one of us here had to sacrifice to be here or get to where we are today. I mean, if we didn't sacrifice, we wouldn't be where we are. And I know, Sarge, you had to sacrifice to go to the meeting and meet the Royal Ranger. And I know there's a lot of good story about you. And the same thing with Jason. You did a great work. And Aaron, too, y'all did a great work to sacrifice and make a great effort to this younger people. And I really appreciate that. And my dad, back then, that's Mercy's father. I know he made a lot of sacrifices as well. And for me to marry into that family, it was a great story. I mean, he had 12 kids. This is one of his older son. His name is Paul. And come to their house, first time meeting everybody. 12 people and their spouses, that's like 24 people that be coming to the house. And, it took me about 30 minutes to say hi to everybody. I was like, hi, my name is, Doug, what's your name? And at the end, I was like, man, it's a lot of names I gotta memorize. But I get to know everybody, and it was a sweet family. And he traveled all around the world to just tell people about Jesus. And that's a huge sacrifice. I live in America, if I want something, it's right out the street. One time I went to Vietnam and I need cereal. I had to walk 30 minutes to try to get some cereal. And when I come back home, there's no milk at home. So it's another trip down to the town to get milk. And I didn't want cereal. Mercy wanted cereal. I wanted Vietnamese food. See, I'm in Vietnam, and she wants cereal. And I was like, all right, she come to Vietnam with me. She doesn't speak to anybody but me, because ain't nobody can talk to her. I had to translate. But to say all that to say, Dad make a great sacrifice for everybody, and I love that about him. Whenever I think of sacrifice, that's who I think of, Mom and Dad. And thank you so much for making sacrifice for everybody. And when I hear the statement, as for me and my house, we will serve the Lord, and that's what I think of you. And I really appreciate the fact that you keep that biblical into your family and willing to pass it on to everybody. And I'm grateful for that. And Selena, thank you so much for sacrificing your time and take me under your wings and teach me everything about real estate. I didn't even know what realty is 2 years ago. What is real estate? What is realty? I had no idea what that means. And she willing to just sit down with me and teach me, okay, this is what it really is. It just means a house. I'm like, oh, that's it? I didn't know what real estate means. And she just guided me throughout, the process of getting my license. And I love my job ever since. Thank you so much. And when I was 16 years old, as soon as I landed in America, my brother Mike told me, well, we've been here for about 8 years, and we work our butt off for you to come here, and we lay out the red carpet for you to just walk on it, And at the time, I was like, wow, red carpet, what does that mean? I didn't even know what red carpet meant. Until I turned on the Hollywood channel, seeing people get flash everywhere and walk on the actual red carpet. I was like, wow, red carpet. I didn't have any red carpet. Just walk around the house. It's carpet, but it's not red. But I understand what he was saying now. It's just, everything is laid out for you to do. And it was a blessing for me to be in this country. It was a great sacrifice for myself as well. In Vietnam, I was living like a king. My parents provided everything for me. I just had to go to school, and that's it. And coming to America, I didn't want to come here. I was like, what is America? I've never been here. I don't know what it's going to look like. My brother said he got to work his butt off. Why would I want to come over here? And I'm like, I think it's better for me to stay at home, right? As soon as my dad called me, at noon, he was like, come eat. And I, come home, lunch is prepared. 6 p.m. he called, my mom called, come home and eat dinner. Dinner is prepared. And I was like, why do I need to come over here? I had to make my own ramen noodles, and I don't even know how to cook. So it's like I'd rather eat fast food or be hungry. So all my year through like college, I had to eat fast food and kind of loving it, McDonald's. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here. I learned that, you know, I need to work in America, and at 16 years old, I had to come to my brother's store and work. He owned a grocery store, and I had to work there. If summer, my friend get to go to, you know, Disney, my friend get to go overseas, trip, vacation. For me, from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m., I go to work. As soon as I done my final in school and just, you know, take that break, I go to work until the next month I come back to school. I don't even know what the word vacation means, because for me it's my second language. I come here as an international student. I didn't even know. So for me, I had to work at 16 years old all the way, finish my high school and college. And that is really stood with me. I know that I had to work in order to get what I want. At the age of 18, I get to buy my own car, and I get to do my own payment. And all my friends, you know, they get their car through graduation. I'm like, how did you get that? I need to meet your parents, because I don't have my parent here, and you know, everything I need or I want, I had to buy it myself. You know, and sometimes I think they take advantage of that and don't appreciate everything that their parents give them. And that is something that it really teach me a good lesson, because my parent wasn't around. I mean, my parent was at graduation, but for most of the time they was across the country. If anything, we just talk through the phone, and we don't get to like meet most of the time. And you know, you see my friend here, they talk back to their parent, they don't appreciate like some of the things that their parent were telling them, and I'm like, wow, you know, they had no idea what they missed out. You know, I'm over here, I'm like, don't get to see my parents and tell them how much I appreciate them. And that is something that I want to take back and you know, willing to teach these kids and these young men and women into like, you need to appreciate and like invest this time to your parents, your grandparents, because sometimes, you know, you think just come and see them is just nothing, but to them it's more like everything. For my parents, one time, you know, I just asked them, Dad, let's ride a motorcycle sometime. You know, let's just get on motorcycle. I love motorcycle. Let's ride to the country. And he got a bike, and he got to take his wife, my mother-in-law, and I took Mercy, and we just rode out to this country road, and we get sandwiches, and we just have some conversation with them, spend time with them. And when we got back, you would think that I just took him to the moon and back. You know, everywhere he goes, oh man, I got to spend time with Duc and Mercy. We was loving it. And I'm like, wow, I just, you know, ride with you guys. But I think that's really important to invest time back to your parents, to give it back and help them to know that they are appreciated, and because it's really important. And for me, going through school here, it was a very challenging, and for a normal student here, you just kind of read whatever assignment for school and you can understand. But for me, I only take a few courses of English. So coming to America, I have no idea this second language, and I had to join in high school and be able to catch up with these students, American students. And every day I had to translate the English assignment into Vietnamese so I can understand. And from Vietnamese, I had to translate back to English for my teacher to understand, because if I write Vietnamese, they have no idea I'm going to get a 0. And I can't fail my class. So for me, everything had to do double work. And college was really hard for me because, I mean, college work, it just like a lot of more work. And one time my mom told me, like, you know, we spend a lot of money for you to go to America and, you know, for college. And for every semester, if a normal American student spent $1,000 for the semester, I had to spend triple because I'm out-of-state students. And my mom was like, you've been going to college for a few years, and we spend about $20,000 per year, and we can't afford to do that anymore. And that night, I can never forget. Like, I was laying down, I was like, man, a lot of money, $20,000. I'm not even making that much just to pay a car payment here, and this is like keep me up all night. And I'm like, wow, what can I do? What can I do to help my parents? And I did something that the whole university was impressed. I took 3 courses of math in 1 semester. A normal course of math, college math, is for an average college student. And for 1 semester, I did 3 courses of math. I mean, Monday through Friday. I'm at the school at 8 o'clock and leaving at 9 o'clock at night. And I keep turning this assignment that is not even due yet. And my professor was like, why you turn this in already? We don't need this for like 2 more months. And I'm like, well, I need to finish 3 courses. And at the end of the semester, I saved $18,000 for my parents out of 3 courses of college math, and I'm really proud of that. And I told my mom, like, Mom, I try everything I can. I can't do that with English. My mom was like, can you do that with other subjects too? I'm like, Mom, I had to translate it to Vietnamese. You don't know how you do it. Like, you weren't even willing to learn English. How to say how are you or hi. And you telling me that can you do that? It's like, Mom, I did what I can. And my professor asked me if I want to be, the head of the math tutor of the college. I was like, no, it's too much work for me. I don't want to do that. But I learned the importance of saving money, and money is hard work, and you have to work hard for it. And I really appreciate the fact that my parents are working hard every day, and my parents are not from rich family, and they work hard for their money, and I do whatever I can to help them save money. The next point I want to make is you can't afford to miss an opportunity to make your dream come true. And this point is, my wife told me this point. This is a great story come with it. A few months back, I received a call from her, and I was just working, and she said, I think Sarge is trying to call you. And I was like, well, I'm working. I can't really pick up his call. And she texted me, she was like, well, you need to call him back. And deep down, I was like, well, I need to work. I'll call him after I get off. She was like, no, you need to call him like as soon as we finish this conversation. I was like, all right, I'll give Sarge a call. And, calling Sarge was being the person is nice. He is like, hi, Duc, how are you? I was like, well, I'm okay. I'm working. And he go, well, I have some shelf open ticket. You want to come? I was like, shelf open ticket? This is like a pro golf people, playing golf. I was like, I would love to come. Well, a few hours later, I'm over there at that shelf open, seeing all these professional golfers like putting into the hole like feet away from me. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. This is a dream come true to see a professional to play golf. And speaking of that, we have a tournament coming up, and I would encourage anyone here to come and join us, to maybe see me to win the putting contest again this year. I almost won last year, so missed the $5,000, right? But I really enjoy the tournament, Sarge. You teach me a great lesson of giving. Your heart of giving is so amazing, and that's one of my gifts, and I just see Christ, into that gift, and I really appreciate that you activate that gift and use it in every aspect of your life. I really appreciate that. I want to talk about legacy, and when I think of legacy, I think of something that we are willing to pass it on to the next generation, give it to someone in our family. And for me, my dad is passing on legacy after legacy to me, and he teach me how to work hard, and you can't be lazy. You have to do whatever you can to bring food home as a man of the family. That's how my culture. That's how I grew up in my culture, because the women is just somebody that at home prepare everything, but the man had to go out and hunt out something and bring it home. And that legacy really stick with me, because it helped me to understand the hard working in America. Because for people to say that, there's no job in America, I look at them like, you have no idea what opportunity you missed. You have no idea like what people overseas willing to trade off to just be where you are. And, for them to just say that, I think that is wrong. And sure, there's time that, it's hard to find job, but to say that there's no job in America is just a wrong statement. And most of us take a trip overseas, and if we see like things that people over there experience, we would come back here and we would like be so appreciative for the thing that we have here. And I think that it's really important to know that the thing that we have here is more than just the material stuff, and it's more of leaving a legacy to your children and to your children as well. And to see that you are willing to sow in this ministry, willing to give to us, to your service, will pass on to many generations in the future. And I think that's going to be one of the greatest legacy you get to pass on to the next generation. And with us, we can do so much with it. We can take a kid and we can mentor them and change their lives. I mean, I hear story how a lot of young people go down the wrong path, and that path is leading to so many other things that doesn't need to be in their lives. They need to be out and helping other people. They don't need to be somewhere and do something that they're not supposed to be. And when I think of legacy, I think of something that the company Apple from Steve Jobs, and for Apple products, I mean, most of us probably have Apple products. How many of you have Apple products? iPhone, iPad, MacBook. I love their product. It's one of the cool products. Stats show that everyone on planet Earth have two now, not one product from Apple, but two products from Apple. It either be an iPod or an iPhone or anything. Any one of us have two hands, and then we holding two products from Apple. And I think it's amazing, because did you know that Steve Jobs was adopted? And at a young age, he walked away from his Sunday school class because no one was helping him to find out that why the people are hungry and why God does this to the people. And he walked away from his Sunday school class. And he's the only guy that wanted to make a dent in the universe, and he did make a huge impact on the universe. And can you imagine what we will be experiencing if somebody willing to just reach out to him and just help him to find that answer? I mean, I can totally see the Apple with the cross, as their logo, all around the world, and it's so funny because when I went to Vietnam, at the time I had the iPhone 5S, and I couldn't sell it here for $200, and the iPhone 6 and 6 Plus, of course, coming out. So I went over there, I was like, well, I need to use this phone, but when I leave Vietnam, I don't need this phone anymore, because I'm going to get a new phone when I get back, because I'm one of those tech guys. I love iPhone. And it's a funny story. When we arrived to our home, the phone also arrived to our apartment at the same day. I was like, wow, I love the UPS, But over there with my iPhone 5S, they was go crazy for it. They paid me $500 for it, for a used iPhone 5. And, they were like, Apple is the best, Apple is number one, And, for a third world country, they make the average income is $100 a month for them to be able to have breakfast, dinner, and lunch for 30 days, $100. And for them to have an iPhone and willing to pay $500 for it, for a used phone, that's a huge impact on that company. And I would encourage like everyone here to just willing to reach out to somebody you have no idea what's impact you're willing to make into the kids' lives and what they will do in the future. Well, this event is something that Sarge wants to do it for free, like he said earlier, keep it at low cost. But I know that, everyone got here doesn't cost them free. I know people that fly out from other city and state to be here, and this costs you guys time and effort and to get here. And even though it has no cost, you still willing to put a lot of time aside to just be here with us, and I really appreciate that. That's the only measurement that, nothing can replace. I mean, we can always make more money and buy new stuff, but you can never buy more time. Everybody have 24 hours, and I really appreciate everyone being here. And I want to close out by saying that thank you for being here. And overall, this ministry, passing the baton, is all about a community come together and help one another to get to the better level and higher level, to be a good mentor to one another. And some of you might say, well, you're a lot older than me. Like, I don't think it's wise for me to be like, under your leadership. Well, let me be under your leadership. I'm very young and I got a lot to learn. I would love to have you as my mentor, to help me to become who God created me to be, and very, very like in the short future. And I know that 2015 is a great year to start everything out. And next time you come, I would love to have you invite your friend, your family member to come, because all they need is someone to reach out to them and invite them and sowing that seed. And I think it's so important because you never know what's going to be in the future for them. And for me, for being who I am today, I really thank you, my wife, for reach out to me and help me to be who I am today. I cannot do it without her. I want to ask Sarge to come back up, and I have a little gift for him.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. If I had known that you were going to say all those nice things about me, I probably wouldn't have shown up tonight. Because, don't run off. You see what I see in this young man? He's incredible. He and his wife are incredible. And the way that we structured this first meeting, we kind of reverse engineered it. Okay, I'm not an engineer, but we reverse engineered it. I thought, well, maybe it'd be a wise idea to invite somebody that was from the greatest generation and have them come speak first and build this thing from that end back the other direction. And then I thought about it more, and I thought, no, I said, we need to have someone from your generation. By the way, what is your generation called?
X, right? Generation X.
X? Like
Y.
Y? X, Y, and Z. Okay.
They're millennials.
Millennials are average. This gets real confusing. Brother Walker, what is your generation? You are barely, right? You were probably was like 1964 was the last year. Okay, so you're a boomer. Wow. Okay. Any other boomers in the room? There should be a lot. Thank you. There should be a lot because it was and still is the largest of the generations. And so we've got X and Y. And what's the generation behind you? Do they have a name?
Millennials.
Millennium?
I thought the millennials were in their 20s.
Okay.
I'm all confused.
Any other?
They can't
Are we
keep
missing?
track.
Are we missing any of the generations?
We
No.
may have them out of order.
All right, so you want the answer?
Yes.
Yeah. You got it?
I do.
Okay.
So apparently, if you were, the newest silent generation is born in 2000 and 2001 to present, and, or they're called Generation Z otherwise. And anybody born between 1980 and year 2000 are millennials or Generation Y. So they're the same, right? And then 65 to 79 is Generation X, and 46 to 64 are the baby boomers. And then the 1925 to 1945 is, again, a silent generation. That's interesting. interesting, hence why I guess the new silent generation.
I'm the silent generation.
Yeah, and then 1900s to 1924 is the GI generation.
The GI generation?
Yep, and
Really?
that's, yeah.
I like that. GI stands for government issue. Government issue. That's like when you go in the Army, they tell you that if the Army wanted you to have a wife, they would have issued you one.
We're getting another government issue generation coming along.
Uh-oh.
Depend on the government for everything.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's scary. Well, listen, again, we appreciate everybody coming. We're going to do a little Q&A if you have a question for either one of us. I do want to tell you that part of my job is going to take this ministry across the United States. I've had a lot of people already ask me, how do you do this? And they're asking me, we haven't done it yet, right? So I'm saying, well, just do it. Kind of like Nike, just do it. You know? And but we're going to do that. We've had several people ask us to do that. I'll do some traveling. Sandy and I'll do some traveling, and we'll have an opportunity to work with others. Duc is going to serve as the president of this chapter, and he will forever be the co-founder of this ministry. And I can't think of anyone more capable that I would like to put it in your hands. And I've always been impressed with you. I was a little concerned when you didn't have a business card to give back to me. But you know, you're from a different generation, you know, so.
I wasn't working.
You were.
I was just serving the church.
Listen,
That's my job.
he's got lots of business cards now. And lots of real estate out there to sell. So, anybody have any questions for us or for anyone else in the room? You know, if you have any questions, it's a great group, by the way. Again, some of you came in late. Thanks for coming, for being here. But does anybody have any questions or comments? Betty is serving as our secretary. Okay, she's agreed to do that. Her and Sandy are going to kind of work that together. Mercy, your job is just to continue to keep him straight. But anybody have any questions or any comments about this ministry? I know it's early on, but anything that you want to discuss at this time, we'll try to field those questions for you. Yes, sir.
Well, what's the plan, protocol for reaching younger people and getting those folks that we're going to target to mentor?
That's a great question, and Duc will answer that question. I'm going to duck that question.
You know how the social media is a crazy market out there that people, you know, because of the younger generation, that's why we get these older people, you know, they're on Facebook. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why they're on there, because their kids and their grandkids are on there. That's how we reach them, you know. We, you know, maybe if we invite them, they don't come, and, you know, we minister to them through that platform, and we just encourage them, you know. I mean, I hear this sad story, you know, this one girl just took her life because she made a post on Facebook, and she's asked if anybody care if I'm gonna, like, you know, kill myself like tomorrow, and nobody answered, you know, and people are like, well, just kill yourself, you know, nobody care. Well, the next day, you know, she took her life, and she's only 16 years old, and, you know, you never know what impact you would make. I mean, and, you know, all you need to do is just comment, you know, be like, we care about you, I care about you, you know, you're more important than just, you know, an answer from one of your friends, you know, and that's all we need to be the person to speak positive into their lives and let them know that, you know, the world that they see around them is not just that, you know, there's a lot more out there, there's a lot more option out there, and just be an encouragement to them.
Yeah, and as a caveat to that, George, younger people will listen to you long before they'll listen to me. Okay, you will reach people in your life. The younger people in the room tonight will reach other younger people a lot quicker than I would. Because a lot of times, unfortunately, they don't see any value in talking to people my age, you know. And I think that's unfortunate. But I also think that that's going to be one of the byproducts of this ministry, is that it will have people from all ages and all of these generations, and will be able to learn from one another. I want to learn from you guys. You know, and I want to reach out to you and help you learn. and be a mentor to others, in the room. So we have a lot of baby boomers here tonight. We have some of the other younger generations, and we're glad you're here. But the way that we're going to reach them is that when you invite them, they're much more likely to come. So when you go back and you're talking to folks that you're going to school with, or that you're working with, or that are in other ministries that you're involved with, if you'll just say, hey, I'd like to invite you. We had our first meeting, and it was January the 6th, and we had our first meeting, and this is what we're about, and this is what we hope to accomplish. They'll come a lot closer to listening to you than they will for us. So a lot of it's going to be word of mouth. We do have all the social media and everything. It hurts me to even say those words, social media, because I'm like Duc. I had to work twice as hard. I had to work twice as hard, 3 times as hard to learn the social media. Most of what I've learned from Brother Barker. And what's really neat for me, and we poke fun, right? We say things, but man, when I watch young people text, right? And these thumbs are, I don't even, and they're driving the car at the same time and eating a sandwich and combing their hair and putting on their makeup. It amazes me how they do all that at the same time. It really amazes me. No, I'm just kidding. But no, a bunch of just fly on there. And like you said, they'd rather do that than pick up the phone and call you. But that's that generation. And that's okay. That's okay. I will tell you that the things that Brother Barker did when he was a youth pastor just a few short years ago, what worked back then doesn't necessarily work today. And we have to change with the times. There is one thing that we're all guaranteed, and that's change. We're guaranteed change, So you have to kind of catch up with that. Any other questions? Did we answer your question? Did we answer your question to your satisfaction?
Yes and no.
Okay, can you tell us how because I want to learn from you, what are some things that you think that we might do in order to facilitate that?
Well, programmatically, we have a bunch of people in this room. I'm sure everyone's here because they believe in ministry. But how do we take that outside of this room? If I'm going to invite a young person that I meet, let's say at Humble High School, or how am I going to what am I going to be plugging them into? Am I going to tell them, join a Facebook group? Am I going to tell them, well, we have this program that we'd like to get you through, and this is going to be the benefit for you, programmatically and process-wise.
Anybody else in the room want to take a shot at that? We don't have all the answers up here. We don't even presume to have all the answers.
Putting it together now is what I think you're saying. And it's not, there's anything formal.
There's not like a curriculum or that type of a mentorship type program. I could maybe recommend something that you might want to look into if that is something that you're interested in, but I think I've mentioned to Duc before, and probably some other people about FCCI, but I know that they've really been looking to, it's Fellowship of Companies for Christ International, been around for a long, long time, and that is also one of their cruxes, that they really want to see, that mentorship, and they do have some programs that you might, kind of the same thing that we do in church, I suppose, but where it kind of guides you and allows you to have some learning and then interaction. I haven't actually gotten into any of that curriculum through them, but just as a suggestion. So I think I see what George is asking. Yeah. He's asking if we invite someone, what are we going to share with them as to what benefit are they going to have, aside from just coming to a meeting and having a nice time of fellowship and whatever.
Yeah, young people like the ones that just raised his hand, they want to know what's the value, what's the benefit, what's in this for me, and that's okay. Go ahead, Aaron.
I was saying, one thing you could do is just, as we grow this thing, you could just pair somebody up with a mentor, like an older person and a younger person, and pair them up as a mentor for the upcoming month. They just make contact with each other 2 or 3 times for that month. Just keep going with each other, That's an extenuation of tonight. So they have that follow-up. and accountability.
Kind of what you and I do on a regular basis.
Sure.
Sit together and talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love Aaron. If you don't know Aaron Muhammad, you need to get to meet this young man, all 6'6" of him. I really like this guy. But we were at dinner the other night. I'll tell the story for the third time. We were at dinner the other night. My wife said something about bringing Muhammad to the mountain or bringing the mountain to Muhammad. And Aaron said, "Sandy, what are you talking about?" You know, and we're like grandparents here, right? So he said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "I don't know." That was her answer. "I don't know." And he said, "You shouldn't be talking about stuff you don't know." You know, but that's funny. That's humorous. But that's two totally different generations, and we're talking, we're communicating.
Yeah.
Right. Go ahead.
The mentorpreneur.
A little bit louder, please.
Sorry, the term mentorpreneur. So is that in alignment more so with like grooming for workplace or marketplace, if you will, or is it something else? Just because of the preneur part, I suppose.
Yeah, I think it does have a lot to do with business. We have a lot of business folks here, and that's part of the audience that we're trying to reach, is the business world. Being in Houston, Texas, we have a lot of advantages, as you well know. We have some disadvantages as well, but one of the advantages that we have is that we have so many people involved in the oil and gas industry, and as a community, we've done well economically, okay? So that was part of what we wanted to do. We wanted to reach out to folks there, but we also want to reach folks in churches and schools and wherever they happen to be, you know.
Well,
So
your sphere of influence, I
Yeah.
would suppose, because
Yeah.
everyone's going to have a different circle.
yeah, a lot of this, you know, this is so new, and we haven't really structured it in any fashion because we wanted to bring everybody in and let y'all be involved in the decision making too. You know, that's not a cop-out. That really truly is what we were hoping to be able to do. Some of that is to hear from you and find out where your heart is. I met with a pastor today, and I told him, I said, "Pastor, I said, I just want to hear your heart. I want to hear your heart." You know, I mean, we have a head knowledge, but we have a heart knowledge, and I'd rather hear your heart. You know, and so you guys will have an opportunity to share a lot of that with us. Betty, please.
I'd just like to add that I think a good objective also in trying to reach an audience would be those people on all of our Facebook pages, friends, and beyond in our atmosphere that do not attend church. I think that that's a market of so many people that, you know, I'm always posting God things, you know, religious inspiration. But I know so many of those people, and I just blasted it out today because there are a lot of young people, you know, that we all know, older as well, that are professionals. But there are so many people that aren't going to a church because when they go to a church, they don't get that one-on-one. People are not as eager to socialize anymore. They stay in their own clique or whatever. But that, to me, are the people who I think really are in need of a ministry, influence, mentorship, that can learn. And the other question I wanted to ask was, are you going to know from week to week who the next speaker will be, so that will help us to start inviting people?
We will definitely know from month to month.
Oh, month
Not
to month,
necessarily,
okay,
yeah,
right.
not
But
necessarily.
for each month, you'll know the next month's speaker when we
right.
get started.
Give you an example. I'm wanting to get up here and speak so bad I can't stand it, but I'm going to hold off because there are a lot of other folks that deserve that opportunity first. The gentleman that owns Gallery Furniture, Mr. McInvale, has agreed to come speak for us. So we're looking at getting some, you know, in addition to this great quality speaker, we're looking at getting other great quality speakers to come. I'm hoping that Brother Barker will find time sometime to come and share. His calendar is unbelievably busy. I want Jason Bone, Jason stepped out, I want him to come and speak sometime, okay? My good friend Rick Morley. Rick has been in the construction industry for about 44 years roughly, and just has an unbelievable amount of knowledge in that area. So we're gonna have folks from across the spectrum come, from the clergy to academia, to folks in business, maybe airline pilots, just lawyers, doctors, everybody, okay? I don't know that we'll invite any politicians. We might.
Coming up.
If they'll sign a disclaimer or whatever, maybe, but no, we won't. Anybody that wants to come and can add value to our group, to this chapter. This is the Kingwood chapter, the first chapter, and you were all part of the very first meeting. I hope that makes you feel special. It makes me feel special that you're all here this evening and participating. Any other questions? Yes?
I just had a comment. I know that I may not be super young, but I'm 22, and I know you were talking about.
Did she say 22?
I guess it's well, I don't know what we're talking. I mean, how young are we talking when we're talking reaching young people? But you know, for me, just to sit and think about it, I think that there's a lot of people that are around my age that don't necessarily know what they want to do with their life and who they want to be. And you'll see that with, you know, I've done some research, but also with baby boomers. They go back to school, you know, afterwards, and you see more and more of that. People are doing multiple different things. And I think that, you know, going into trying to reach my generation, you know, and the people around that, I think that is a key, because there's so many people that want to get connected with, you know, different people that are doing things that maybe they've thought about, you know, but just don't have the how did you, or, you know, what to do now, or where to go, or, you know, that sort of thing. So I just wanted to mention that, because I think that, you know, is the key too, because there's people that, just like me, you know, I'm just kind of like, well, there's so many things I want to do. What do I choose first?
Absolutely, that's great. That's great. I think if everyone would not try, but if everyone would invite a couple of people to come to our next meeting, we'd see this thing grow even more. Ken, you and I are from the same generation, and you've been in business for years, a lot of educational background. What do you see, I'll put you on the spot, what do you see as the value of this type? Because this is not something that you see often, where we're trying to bring all the generations together.
Yeah, well, I think first of all, what I heard Mercy say is that a lot of people of her generation really don't know what they want to do.
Right.
And I guess my generation, it was, you went to high school, and then if you were going to go on, you went to college, and then you went out and got a job, or you were like me, you stayed in school a few more years and piled it higher and deeper until you got your final degree, but then you went out and you got a job.
Good times.
Can't even find it to turn it off. There we go. An 809 area code. Where is? Or no, it's a 201, 281.
Yeah, you'll be shocked that he has a 3GS.
Yeah. Here I am, you know, out of the technology world, been a computer applications guy all my life, and I'm far behind the curve on things. Anyway, the objectives of the current generation they seem so much different than what you and I had in our generation. I don't know, Duc, maybe you could respond to that, but you know, we grew up kind of knowing what we wanted to do. Me, I was going to be a Major League Baseball player until I realized I couldn't hit a curveball any better than I could hit a fastball. But we all had objectives for what we wanted to be when we grew up. I don't even know if kids grow up thinking that anymore. I think in order to be effective mentors, our generation needs to know how the younger generations are thinking. As you said, we can learn a lot from them too. But yes, I think our generation has a lot to pass on. And then if you think in terms of the church world, I don't think the churches are providing what the younger generation is looking for, by and large. So many of this generation don't attend church or attend church only infrequently. And what is it that the church is missing to attract people of this generation?
Brother Bart, would you like to share? I see the wheels turning.
Am I wrong, or am I right?
I don't think we can make a blanket statement.
No, but
You know, in speaking generalities, because some churches are doing a
oh yeah,
phenomenal
some churches are
job with
doing,
their young people.
but the church as a whole, I'm
Yeah.
talking
Well,
about now. It just doesn't seem that being part of a church body is as much a thing for the younger generation as it was for my generation or my parents' generation.
I'll come right back to you, okay? Brother Barker?
I just, you know, this is nothing that's original with me, but the statement that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Sure, you have a foul today.
And that's really, I think, what, in my opinion, this is more about, because, you know, we have a friendship because I believe you really care. And because of that, I want to know you, and I want to know what you know. And I think that's what's missing. It's more, it's got to become kind of to springboard off of the real estate lady. broker.
Selena.
This is it has to be intentional. And the word that keeps coming to me is more maybe investment. We're investing.
That's right.
Because we've had someone pour into us.
Right.
It's intentional.
Yep. Intentional, it has to be intentional. Someone earlier said something about being effective. You get it, effective. If it's not effective, then why are we doing it? You know, if it's ineffective, then we're not accomplishing anything. And nobody's even talked about barriers to communication. There are all kinds of barriers to communication, whether it be language, whether it be background noise, whether it be just a difference in age and a difference in thought and opinion, those type of things. But those are the things that we're going to explore, and we're going to help each other to explore that. I'm excited about this. I think it's really a neat concept, not because we came up with it, but I think it's a neat concept because what it does is it brings the generations back together. There used to be a time in our nation's history where you sat down at the dinner table with your family. I know my daughter over here is thinking, well, when was that? That was a long time ago. But families used to sit down at the dinner table at night and they talked. And they talked. You catch that? They actually talk to one another. And it's really changed in this fast-paced world where everybody's trying to play catch-up all the time. But you know what, folks? Those are all just excuses. Take away the excuses. Rick?
I kind of thought this was for young people, either out of high school or trying to make a living, or people that are just coming out of college and don't know still what they want to do. If they get mentored, we mentor them, they're getting our experience, our knowledge, our wisdom on basic things on how to get started. If we teach them honesty, integrity, hard work ethic, and that kind of stuff, those particular items and stuff like that, and they'll begin to ask the question, there must be something more than what I'm doing that I didn't realize. Here's a man that is honest, has great integrity, hardworking. I want to be like him. How do you be like him? Well, you learn Christ. That's right. And that's the only way that they're ever going to be on that level. But that's kind of what I thought this was, to get them started. If you show them and give them the right path to go and spend a little time with them, then they'll pick it up and they'll follow it, and then they'll start asking questions like, you know, I want to be like that. How do I get to be have good integrity? How do I get to be honest? I mean, just to be honest these days is
big deal.
Those are all very, very valid points, and there have to be core principles, right? We have to believe in something. We have to believe in someone, okay?
But what I was kind of getting to is, if you go in right up front and try to make it a religious thing, that's going to turn a lot of people away,
Right.
right? I mean, they'll say, I didn't come here to go to Sunday school or to get a religious lesson. I want to know how to make it through life and just make a living and to be successful. But if you started out, you know, like I say, teaching them the right way to do things, and they'll see the moral values, like, you know, as it goes along, and then they'll start wanting to get in on that aspect of it themselves. You don't have to cram it down the throat or beat them over the head with it. They'll want to know because they've known you as their mentor, and they're learning those aspects from you. And it seems like that would really.
Yeah. Selena, I know you have one more point. We're out of time. I'm going to ask everyone to stand. I agree, Rick, with what you're saying. I think it's fabulous, and that really is the way that we need to approach it. But there will always, as long as you're involved in this ministry, there will always be a spiritual emphasis. And I know you weren't saying that. And I'm just telling you that as long as Duc and I are involved in this, there will always be a spiritual influence. I want Jason Bone to come. Jason, I always put Jason on the spot. Tonight's a little different. I'm not going to ask him to speak. We'll do that at a future date for us. But Jason is our director of our Royal Rangers. Does a fabulous job. He's an A&M graduate. Has a school. Had a school to get you and the wife. And Jason, I want you to dismiss us in prayer. We're not going to be able to stay around. We're going to have to actually leave. Our time is up. But again, thanks to everyone for coming. We've got your information. Emails are going to be flying. We're going to be talking amongst ourselves. And honestly, we want you to invite folks to come and to be a part of this. We want to get to know you and get to know you in a real way. Not some fake or fictitious way, but to get to know you in a real way so that you can be our real friends. Real friends. Jason?
Lord, I thank you for the opportunity tonight to come and to meet new friends, to see old friends, and to network and to socialize, Father God, but just with the opportunity of lifting you up and to do what Sarge and Duc have talked about passing a baton, God, handing off a heritage and handing off wisdom and something that's so often taken for granted for, as Duc mentioned earlier. God, help us to each one to take what we've talked about tonight, and as the seed we talked about is planted in us, help us to take what we've learned tonight, what we've talked about, and really use that spark to do something productive for you, whether that be a conversation with somebody that we haven't had a chance to approach yet, or somebody that we haven't taken the time to do so. God, I just ask you to keep each and every one of us safe. Bless us as we go about our days and our weeks ahead. Bring us back here together next month to do something for your purpose. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for coming. Great job, Duc. Give it up for Duc.